President Bola Tinubu made a strong statement in the fight against insurgency bedeviling the country. On his social media handle X, to be precise, the president declared a security emergency which came with many plausible implications to further position Nigeria's security architecture to face the incessant killings and kidnappings of the declaration. Now, this actually includes the following: a call for unity and vigilance. Citizens are urged to stay calm, report threats, and support security agencies. Also, emphasis on national solidarity and resilience. He paid a tribute to the fallen soldiers, including the Brigadier General Uba, who had died. He also declared the nationwide security emergency officially being announced to the public and asked for urgent response to rising insecurity across multiple social and, you could say, different states. Well, part of the conversation was that he also mentioned that VIP security officers will actually have the police officers reassigned to the frontline duties. All of these and more is what we're going to look at, especially looking at the international and internal perception regarding the recent declaration. We have public affairs and political analyst Dr Charles Oludare Marindoti joining us from outside the shores of Nigeria. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Boyga, and everybody at home.
Good morning. Good morning. This declaration has been made internally. I'm sure you just followed the conversation we had with the two respected security experts. And now we're looking at it from the international scene. Internationally, can you share with us, first of all, where you're joining us from, and then highlight quickly what the international perception is about this declaration that was made just about 48 hours ago?
Good morning. Thanks for that question. You know, part of my raspy voice, as you can probably still remember, I'm one of the major supporters of President Tinubu. So, you know, I was called an Agbadorian. And I think back then, the Agbado statement was that there was a security emergency. So now that we are just, declaring that security emergency, I'm a little bit, shocked to learn that, because I thought we had always had a security emergency for a very long time. But, the international attention that, President Trump and, a lot of people brought to this probably heightened the media attention, and then probably triggered the, what's it called, over the increase in the repetition of the attacks. But for me, this whole international attention is not as important as the local solution that we need to find to our own, priority security problems. We have always been in a state of security emergency. It didn't just, come, but maybe now that President Tinubu has announced it, the VIP withdrawal of troops was a part of the manifesto. So that should have also already been done, because we have always had this issue with insecurity. But when it comes to the solution to this thing that has delegates in the US cannot solve our problems. The US was in Afghanistan. They did not solve the security problems of Afghanistan. The US was in Iraq. They did not solve our problems. And like the two respected, security analysts said, the local people, they know these people. Why is it that these local people would trust these bandits, and probably some of them even give the logistic support, as opposed to the Nigerian military? Is because these people feel stateless. And that is why we had always advocated for community policing and state policing, and the restructuring of the Nigerian state, which would have given the people in the community the power to defend themselves. Your channel and the whole of Nigeria reported about what happened in Iri Ayetoro in Kogi State, where some people were kidnapped, and within hours, the vigilante groups within that security mobilized against them. 2 people were lost, despite their inferior arms, but they were able to rescue those people immediately. That is because the people there had an architecture. Those could have been members of the Ayetoro Kiri police department that would arrest the remaining bandits and prosecute them. But when we are a security agency, it is not going to work. And that is why I am personally, as an Agbadorian, quite disappointed in President Tinubu, because one of the reasons people like me supported him was because he was Mr. Restructuring. He stood for that. And I can remember a lot of my idols in Ondo State, like Sendesin. They mentioned, give us state policing, now we'll solve these internal problems. And in 2024, 2023, when he won, Professor Wale Soyinka said restructuring has to be the mainstay of the function of the next government. In 2024, when he went to visit Ondo State after Akeredolu died, the elders of Afenifere, the Power Fashion Olufalaye, His Royal Majesty, asked President about the restructuring, and then he started talking about economy, and then he repeated the same thing during when the Patriots requested for restructuring. Had he done this restructuring, we wouldn't be facing this spate of policing right now. And I'll give you an international example. Yesterday, 2 Patriots, members of the National Guard in the United States, were shot right in front of the White House. But guess what? Washington, D.C. and the other intergovernment agencies have taken charge of the investigation, and they've arrested the person they are investigating right now. The country moves on. We get much more gun violent deaths here, but because the police is disseminated, people are able to take care of it. But right now, all these kidnappings that is going on, it is the president that has to respond to each and every one of them. And he's one man. He cannot divide himself into 36 states or 773 local governments where a lot of things are happening. You may not know, but over this weekend, there was a man that was returning from Akure, where he went for his son's convocation, and he was kidnapped in Kogi State, and the family had to pay ransom. He was just released yesterday. Is the military or the Betokun, the IDP, aware of this? They are not, because it is too omnibus. They have failed to do the restructuring that the campaign done. I guess maybe like the Femi Kuti song, they don't bobo our papa now, because this restructuring should have been, he should have come out of the door since 2023, and by now we should have had more devolution of policing force to the communities where these things are occurring. If you make the people feel powerless, if you make the people feel stateless, they will not be able to defend themselves, and that is the genesis of the problem that we have right now in Nigeria.
Now, Dr. Marindoti, you seem to be of the opinion that Nigeria needs to seek domestic help and deal with its insecurity issues by looking inwards, but the government and its handlers will think otherwise. Because, how do you make sense of the fact that in the height of this uptick that we've witnessed in the last few weeks, the Inspector General of Police, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Director of the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, and a few senior security government experts were in the United States to meet a member of Congress to discuss some of these issues, and also the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. I did meet with National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu just last week. So it means that there are conversations on partnership with the United States to help us tackle this terrorism that we're witnessing. My question to you is, what sort of help or partnership do we need? Because we did purchase some platforms, and like our guest said in the past, in this past interview, the Super Tucanos, for example, and some drones, there are restrictions on where they can be used, citing humanitarian reasons.
Yeah, you're very right. To me, I believe that all the expedition in the United States was a futile expedition in my own opinion, because the United States cannot solve our own needs and problems. There is a genesis of this problem, and this is my own theory. But I want to tell you how President Obasanjo gave us Boko Haram that has led onto this insecurity. And it has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with economic policies. When he came in and ratcheted up import duty with prohibitions on sugar, flour, rice, everything that people needed, that means the North that had always been poorer than the South was unable to feed. So if you have given people and grown them in such abjection and indigence for 15 years, 25 years, those boys that grew up in poverty are the ones in the bushes right now tormenting us, because they couldn't go to school. All their trade with their neighboring countries from Cameroon to Chad to Niger was disrupted, and they were poor. So right now we have 2,400 children dying every day in Nigeria because of economic policies that don't make sense, that only set to impoverish them and does not even benefit both the consumer and the producer. So these are some very pertinent economic problems that are causing this thing, as opposed to the response also that needed to be done. We understand from the history of Nigeria that after the 1966 coup and the military decided to weaken the community policing and scrap all local government policing, that's caused an inefficiency in accountability for the policing. Even when we had the NSAS, I said it back then that NSAS should have been asking for state police, because the reason police is able to brutalize you is because there's no local control, so there's no accountability. If your local government was the one paying the salary of your policeman and it brutalizes you or it takes bribe from you, you can easily go to his headquarters and go and knock his door. But you cannot go to Abuja to go and meet the Betokun or the AIG or whatever. So if we are going to America and China, we are not fighting Russia. We are fighting an insurgent within our states, within our country. These things happen a long time in Nigeria. It's just that there's an increase in it because of the economic situations that we are having. So what we need to do is to allow the people down police, because each town should have their policing, whereby it is people who speak the language, who know the people that are working there, that are passionate about the people. Because they were defending their neighbors, they were defending their children. If that was your sister, you would do the same too. I could remember vividly, and this is one of the reasons why it's so painful that the president decided to pay a squirrel ear to the advice of His Royal Majesty Olufalaye and Parfashionati, because in 2019, Parfashionati lost a daughter to violence in Ondo State. It was just a random shooting. Those people were subsequently arrested, and JOC was kidnapped for 3 days. He did not eat food, man. And especially I could remember when His Royal Majesty was kidnapped, if there was a commission of a local guard that needed people, I as a doctor would have dropped my stethoscope, picked up a gun and gone into the bush to rescue him, because he was like a grandfather to me. But we were hopeless. And I know we've been talking about the issue of whether they were paid or not. I could remember vividly in 2015, we were told that His Royal Majesty Olufalaye was rescued. And when I saw him the next day, after I saw the IG Odis and Arase at the time, Odis on TV, he told me that his family paid ransom, and then he gave a news interview subsequently after that and told us how they kept telling him everything. His family, his children paid the ransom. So this whole thing about not being truthful or forthright with the people is also quite, to me, appalling. I thought APC, the broom in our logo was to sweep out the dirt, not to sweep it under the rug. But it seems as if we are trying to sweep things under the carpet right now. We need to be open with the Nigerian people. Are we for restructuring? Then let us go for solutions to structural problems, because the defect in the structure will cause a further dysfunction down the line, until we give the people the power to defend themselves by giving them community and township and local government and state policing. We are not going to be able to solve these insecurity problems, because the people in those communities, like I have said again, they know these people, they know how to stop them. Let us give them the power to be the first line of response. If they are getting overwhelmed, the state can come and support them, then the federal government can come. I mean, isn't it shocking to you that a governor of a state could told the military and then they left 45 minutes before the attack?
All right. Unfortunately,
the governor is supposed to have a security response.
Dr. Marindoti, unfortunately, it seems we have poor network connectivity issues there. We can't really hear fully your points. But I do understand that you are highlighting some of the major setback from the APC. You said that this is a party that you believed in, and you talked about the broom having been used not for the right thing. Seems like they're trying to not do the right thing, apparently. That's one of the things I could pick from your comments. I wish the network was a bit fair for us to have more discussion. But we'll give it a try, a last try with one more question. But that will be after we go on a quick break, because when we come back, I'd like you to speak on the possibilities of not hinging the entire challenges and blame on the current president. Remember that before him, there was another one. And then again, even though the APC has stayed for close to about 10 years. Can we rightly say that it is an APC problem? Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll ask this question. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us as we look forward to wrap up the ongoing conversation with Dr. Marindoti, who has joined us for a few minutes or thereabout. Our final question to you is, just like I asked before we went on a quick break, would you say that this is a sole responsibility of the current president, looking at the APC, a party which you hold so dear? Or don't you think that it's a lingering problem that started right from the time of the late President Muhammadu Buhari up until now? And maybe we can't really blame the current administration. What's your take?
Let's call it blame. This started under President Obama. Got to Jaradua Jonathan, and then, but here is the crux of the matter. APC, we are in charge right now. We have asked for the mandate. The president said with his own mouth that I inherited the assets and the liabilities, so the buck stops with him. So we have to put all the responsibility, not blame, not guilt, but the responsibility. We came in with a promise of restructuring, and we have failed to deliver, or at least we have kept on kicking the can down the road. It is high time we stopped and addressed this hydra-headed monster. And also, we need to do the economic part. We cannot keep punishing people with punitive tariffs that makes people live in poverty and expect those children not to go into arm taking and banditry and armed robbery. If we don't end this punitive import duty that is making them unable to feed, whereby we are taxing the food out of their mouth, we will not solve the security problems, because that is the perfect culture medium for banditry. So it is not the president's fault, it is his responsibility, but I am disappointed because he came in with a promise of restructuring and he has moonwalked away from it. And we need to remind him and hold him accountable. We that we supported him, that you stood for something. That was why we supported you and committed our own personal resources to support you. So right now, live up to that expectation. Don't go back on your words, on your ideas, on what you stood for. Remember it and stand up to it.
Okay.
And then the Nigerian people will see the results.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles Oludare Marindoti, for speaking with us. Hopefully, the message will be passed across. We're sure they're watching, and maybe we'll see a different light. Thanks for your time, as we have to move straight to another conversation very quickly. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.